Okay, let's look at A's work, her essay plan, and the subsequent essay, and all the details about how and why it would be whatever it is, and how to make that essay and the plan better. Okay? I'm going to warn you again, this essay is actually high-level writing. The language, the candidate, yeah. Okay, so I hope you're familiarized yourself with the question. If not, pause the video and have a look at the question. Think for yourself, okay? Think for a moment what you would say, whether you really understand the question. This is important. Without proper understanding of the question, reading the sample answer and discussing it right away might not be that productive and helpful. Okay, if you have read, let's dive into it. Any country should try to organize international sporting events because they're beneficial. Do you agree with this? Question is simple. As you see, as you've noticed, as I read, I simplified it right away to make sure that I really get it. This is what I always do. I read the question and I try to make it in my own ways, like make it simpler and easier so I can grasp the main point. Okay, now let's look at the original essay plan. Again, feel free to pause the video at this point to have a read, see if you can follow the plan, if it makes sense. Now, I know that the plan might look to you as if it is a little too detailed, and but planning like that, especially at the beginning while you are working on improving your critical thinking, so you prepare better to write essays, is crucial. So this kind of plan or detailed plan like that is only helpful at the beginning or while you're learning how to plan better, how to understand better. If you keep doing this enough, actually, it will become automatic process in your head, so you can make things even shorter in the future. Okay, I've read the plan. It makes sense to me. It's very easy to read. Here's one little tip when you're following essay plans or when you're developing your own ideas. Ask yourself questions. Like you say a point, you say one thing, basically, do you agree? Yeah? Okay, what do you want to say? Yeah, I agree. A country should aim to hold such events. Why is that? Because it's beneficial. What kind of benefits? Well, because sports events such as these bring profit and fame. Okay, now give me an example. For example, Qatar has benefited a lot after organizing these games there, So what happened exactly? Well, the country became really popular. Then what? Well, post investments also make it a really cool thing because then it really helps the economy. Now at this point, I have a question, as you can see, what kind of investment specifically? How? That part is kind of missing here in the plan, so that's what I would improve for sure. And then conclusion, so what? So yeah, hosting such events is really beneficial financially and reputationally. Okay, overall it's structured nicely. Now let's look at the other side. So what do you want to say now? I want to say, nope, it's not always good for any country. Why? Because sporting events require a lot of money to host. This and that explanation, why is it so expensive? Well, because of this. So what? Well, not all countries can afford that. So what happens if they still try to do this? Well, if they try to do this, it will exceed their budget. It will be bad for their financial situation. And this money could be spent actually on something else that they could really improve, like poverty and starvation. So yeah, depending on the situation, they should decide to do this or not. Plan is, again, very good, I would say. It could be improved, yeah, but overall, so far good. Okay, let's look at the sample essay. Now, I think you've read the essay. If not, again, pause the video to have a quick read. See how you would evaluate this. As examiners, you want to read it at first just for task response and coherence. Do not worry about the vocab or the grammar. Just have a read and see if it makes sense. Does it flow smoothly? Can you just follow it easily? Or do you pause and think about what do you mean, how, do that. And the second time you can read it for grammar vocab. Pause the video and read it. If you have read it, so let's see. Now, I read this essay and I've highlighted the parts. These parts, these highlighted parts, as you can see, are specifically, they keep focusing on the financial gains. I'm not sure why. Why it's all about just money. The question did not imply just money. And by the way, the word benefit does not mean money or financial, right? Benefits are like advantages. They could be different kinds of benefits or advantages. Financial is just one. There could be other social benefits. health benefits. You see, so the benefit does not directly and only mean money. So that's why I'm a little bit confused actually why the author keeps saying financial, money, or sports business lucrative side. Okay. The body paragraphs are not bad too. I mean, I could follow them easily. They literally follow the plan, so that's nice. But like I said, when the plan has certain lags of development, then it's going to be reflected in the essay, and that's what's happening. So I read the essay, I like it. Overall, it's not bad, but there are areas where it's missing certain things to make things better. And I'm not talking about the language at this point at all. I'm going to show you how I read it in detail with some additional comments. Okay, so yeah, here is my feedback. In general, when you're reading the question, you want to make sure that you understand the question carefully, like the keywords like benefit. What is the meaning of benefits? If you have a wrong understanding of the word, you might misunderstand it, and that will affect how you plan and how you write the essay. So it's important to understand. When you're reading the question like that, you see what I've did? I've highlighted it, like benefits. What kind of benefits? What do you mean? Have some clarity on that, and then you start planning, and then you start generating ideas. In fact, proper understanding like that can help you come up with better ideas actually, because you really get it. Okay, so let's talk about the plan. Now, her plan, like I said, is generally good. Definitely, we have two sides. Just like I like to do this myself too. I always look at both sides like that whenever I have opinion or discussion essay questions. So mostly it is clear. Position is given. Position means the author's opinion in this case. Arguments are pretty clear too, actually. There are specific examples. And there's some language. It's not just the language part, but there's a little bit of confusion there when we talk about the other side. If there are two sides to the topic, we can't just say, this is always great. That kind of generalization, or all countries or any countries. Because all or any countries means all countries regardless of any factors, but since we have the other factors, we gotta change any country, to some countries. Does that make sense? It's like in the topic sentence. On the one hand, sure, some countries should hold international sports events because they're benefits. But other countries, or for some countries, it's not, but it's not good for every country like that. You see what we're doing? So this helps with clarity and task response. The other side is pretty good too. Again, we would change that in a country to some countries. And thinking about other factors might really boost, or this is what I came up with when I was reading the essay question, when I was planning it for myself. I would have talked about other factors, other benefits, or the opposite of benefits, like social factors, environmental factors. What about the cultural factors, So that way you could realize that we're not just talking about money. So here's how I am thinking. This is what I could maybe add to the essay. Environmentally speaking, sure, holding sporting events can be bad, right? Because it causes pollution. Like when you construct something new, or even lots of people come visit, plane, car visits, all it's going to be bad for the environment. But because of these very events, these countries could actually take extra measures to clean things up, because they got to make their country representable. They're like inviting guests. They got to clean things up, so that could be good. Okay, that's environmentally. You see, so there's something good, there's something bad. If you think critically, there's usually you could think of something, on both sides. Now let's talk about socially. What are the social factors? Again, on the one hand, it could be bad because of the fights and conflicts. I recently, seen some news where in some European country there was a football match, I believe, and Israeli fans were attacked by locals. That image was just kind of sharp in my head. So yeah. Although to be correct, you could say instead of football, soccer, but you understand, I guess, yeah? Like since we're talking about Europe, we're talking about traditional like, European football, not American football. But anyways, such events could also be a good thing, actually, because they could help people unite, get together, the team spirit or the, camaraderie, etc. And they could be great source for people to have fun. Anyway, so these are the arguments that I probably would have added to the essay or to the paragraphs, especially for the second body paragraph. But all right, so these are just, my additional points. And this is important because you see, when you're developing ideas, you don't want to leave anything up to grabs. Like as you write, examiner should have no questions. If they have no questions, then you are doing really, really well. This is very important. I'm going to actually show that to you, or maybe after a little bit, I will show you how. That when you are writing, when you're developing your ideas, examiner should read, and if they have a moment of question like, what about that, or how about this, you should provide the answer right away. So you should predict what kind of questions examiner might have, or they might question your thoughts, so you are ready with a comeback. Essentially, that's what it is. That should happen. If that happens, then you are doing great. This is how you get that 8, 9, and task response. And doing that would also obviously help with proper language. Like even here, as I'm planning, you see, I have this, doing it can be, but it could also, you see, like that. But when I'm writing these, obviously I would turn these into different language structures, so I'm not repeating exactly the same thing, but at least in my plan, I have these linking words, so I know what to say. I have this because, I have for example. All of these are going to help me with coherence and task response. So this kind of thing, again, happens with proper planning and knowing how to plan better, knowing how to think critically, evaluate your own ideas, and predict what your reader might say or question or add or be confused by, and you have to clarify all of that. You have to make that better for your critical reader. Okay, yeah. Having few strong arguments like that, I don't mean like great ideas. It's just these are strong arguments where you have thought things through. You really, you don't just say, oh, it's bad for the environment, but there's the other side too, like that. So you need to think this way. And if you learn to think critically like that, you are going to do really well in these two areas at least. And many candidates who have actually 7, 8 plus language, whose speaking is like 8, reading, listening, 7, 8 or higher, but their writing is 6.5. These people usually do not have these two factors. They don't really do well in thinking critically or writing logically and developing their ideas because they're too busy focusing on the vocab and the grammar. And that's why these two areas will continue suffering. But if they change that, it'll be so much better. Okay. So as you can see, like I would like for you to have a quick look at this, right? So look at the evaluation, like look where, or all this in red are my questions. There might be a little, sometimes grammar, but most of them are some comments and feedback and then questions that I have. So yeah, you can pause the video and then have a quick, read here. Or I can explain. So in the intro, like I said, the first sentence sounds a little bit off, honestly, too, actually. And it's not just the topic that it's only about money, but generally it sounds a bit weird. I mean, it's not really a good, smooth first sentence to help me understand what the topic is going to be about or what the author is going to do. Sports industry has brought a lot of attention in recent years. Like, so what? What's the point? So yeah, there is no smooth connection between the first two sentences, really. And that's why any country should focus on making money. No, not really. While it's good for money, it's not always, it's not advisable for all countries. Okay, this position is really good, so I like that one. So that's what I mean by this clarity. First two sentences could be really improved, making things more topic specific or related to the essay question, not just something too general. Okay, so on the one hand, again, we're specifically talking only about apparently money, but then making that a clearer topic sentence would be nice. So what is a clear topic sentence? What do you want to say? You want to say that on the one hand, sports industry or organizing or sport in general is really beneficial industry, and it is very advantageous maybe, and then talk about one or the other. So yeah, or have only one idea and explain that really well, fully. But it's we have two ideas here. See, first two sentences are pretty much the same, and that's what happens when you don't have a clearly structured paragraph. Okay, so meanwhile, various post investments. What kind of investments? Explain this investment, in what form these investments are coming, especially after the event has happened. What kind of after investment? Not sure. There could be before. What is it? Pre-investment. I'm not so sure. As they rejuvenate the economy. Again, how, right? You see? So this idea is not developed. Therefore, hosting such things, truly beneficial. Not really. However, not all countries should aim to do this because it can be costly. Very clear topic sentence, very, very good topic sentence. Providing such sporting places like these might be expensive. Exactly. They're not going to be able to do this. Now, why not? Okay. They may not be able to recover all that income they spend, all that money. Okay, but why not? Why it wouldn't be enough? Attempting to do this for third world countries, for example, can be especially quite heavy on their budget, worsening the situation. This sentence is nicely done. So this money instead, not in turn, could be spent on other things, like why. There could be little explanation there. So again, conclusion for the paragraph, financial situation. Again, only financial situation. So are you saying that all rich countries should do this? If they're already rich, then why should they organize so they get richer? But again, that's the only benefit. You see like how we're coming back to only this financial thing again. So it doesn't make sense. Especially if the country is rich, maybe it will already have that reputation. You see what I'm saying? So I can ask such questions. If I'm asking such questions, then it means it's not really strong essay. In summary, again, about income, but position is clear. The author keeps saying that, no, it depends. It's not for every country. It's not for all countries. Why? Because of their financial situation and some other issues. So in that regard, it's pretty good. So lexical research and grammar, I would say, it's a high level, definitely, for sure. Granted that you can actually use this language without looking things up in dictionary, without consuming too much time, then for sure. And coaching coherence, not that bad, as you can see. I would say 7, 8 for sure, because there's that ease to it. It's all organized in a way. It is developed. So just a few touches here and there, and starting with a plan would make the essay a lot better. But for now, it is 7 to 8. That means this essay could get just 7 or 7.5. Hey, like 8 is a little bit of reach, but it could actually get that as well. Maybe I'm just being a little too critical. But hey, that's what I do. I want to make things better. Okay, now let's look at the task response. So task response at 9, the whole prompt is addressed properly and in depth. As you can see, we did not explore things in depth. Clear, fully developed position is given. That directly answers the question. So kind of, yes, but maybe I would say that this is somewhere here. So I would say that task response is between these two areas. As you can see, the main parts of the prompt are addressed. Main parts, yes. Clear developed position is presented. Yep. In response to the question. That is right. Ideas are relevant, extended, and supported. Somewhere there. Maybe tendency to overgeneralize, or there may be a lack of focus. Somewhere we're in between again. There may be occasional omissions or lapses in content. I think we're kind of looking here. So filling those gaps would make this, benign. Okay, cohesion coherence, the message can be followed with ease. Oh yes, we're looking at around 8. Or let's look at 7 for cohesion coherence. Information is and ideas are logically organized. Yeah, there is clear progression. Yep, there are few lapses. Range of cohesion devices including references and substitution. Well, I did not see a lot of substitution referencing, but there were some, okay, with some inaccuracies or some over and underuse. We could make this better here. We could work on that. Paragraphing is used effectively, yes. But to make it 9, we have to improve the flow of argumentation. Then we would hit that 8, 9 as well. Lexical research, I don't want to focus on these two really. There are some minor errors and issues with grammar vocab, so I'm not going to focus on those two, but you can see for yourself what it means to make this 9 or 8 or 7. But yeah, focusing on the grammar vocab would be a rather waste right now because, you know, you cannot artificially improve grammar vocabulary. What you actually know comes out during the real exam. And if you give yourself a little time at the end to proofread your work, maybe you could notice some slips and improve them. If you make a mistake in the writing, you forgot little article or subject-verb disagreement, it's not because you don't know these. Maybe you were just in a rush and you forgot to correct those. And you should make sure that you come back and proofread it. So that's that. But there's beyond that, you can't do much really. So I'm not going to focus on these two. Either you have already high level or you use whatever you actually know when it comes to these. But these two, that's what you should focus on, and you can improve these anytime. Okay, so this is the improved version. I'm going to show you like in one page. This is the improved version that you can pause the video and then read. Okay. Because of those argumentations that I had to add another paragraph, and hopefully it's much better, but we can look at it together right now. Why this essay would be 8, 9. Okay, let's look at it from the beginning. So introduction, I got rid of the first sentence and I just combined it into one. So I have 2 sentences in the introduction where I tell you the topic and tell you what I think. With international sporting events becoming significant drivers of economic and social change, some argue that every country should host them because of their potential benefits. And these potential benefits are, this economic and social. However, I believe that only certain countries should strive to host these events. Why only certain countries? Well, based on their specific economic, social, and environmental circumstances. Because as I thought about it, I realized that it wasn't just about, money. Just because a country is rich does not justify that why they should organize sporting events, So yeah, it's not just about money. It's about social and environmental factors as well. Okay, body 1. On the one hand, look at the topic sentence and see if it's clear and good. On the one hand, international sporting events can be economically advantageous, attracting global attention and substantial investments. Okay, so this sentence is specifically talking about money. For example, Qatar's hosting of the World Cup significantly boosts its international profile and tourism industry, demonstrating that such events can enhance the nation's prestige and economic health. Do you see how this one sentence, through that example, is supporting the whole idea before? So it is international profile, like making the country well known, and as such, what happens is that tourists come, so tourism industry goes up, and this is how it's going to do well in its economy and prestige. So post-event investments often include infrastructure improvements, increase the tourist income. Oh, there we have this development, which can help stimulate local economies, provide job opportunities, even if temporary, which is partly true. I mean, I wasn't sure what the author really meant by post-event investments, but I try to develop it by saying maybe the author means like after, because, well, you will still have the better infrastructure that you build for making these events happen, so it's kind of after, or as a result of that, and the country is now more well known, that more people will start coming, And with them, there's more money. And to help them, there's going to be jobs. So even if they're temporary, maybe, whatever, or it's still good, still somebody's going to benefit from all of this economically. All right, so counter-argument here, briefly. However, these benefits are not guaranteed and depend heavily on countries' existing economic infrastructure and ability to manage and sustain the growth brought by such events, right? So this one is living a little bit of, the counter-argument is so important because we said, hey, it really depends. It depends on certain factors, It's not just, oh, yes, absolutely, or no, absolutely not. It really depends. So this is what this is doing, so it's important. Okay, conversely, the cost of organizing these events can be prohibitive, right? Very expensive, especially for developing countries. Topic sentence is clear again? Now why, right? Or so what? Constructing stadiums and other facilities requires significant financial investment, so that cannot be recouped later. Anyways, why not? Well, for example, Brazil incurred substantial debts to host the Olympics. I added this example because I actually know that to be true as far as I remember, so I added that argument a decade ago. And I know that this country was, and I think still is actually, trying to pay back all that loan that it borrowed, from other countries to organize the Olympics. So it's like that. So this is how if your country is not really that rich, but it borrows money to organize this event so that it builds all these cool facilities just to make this event happen, then it can't pay back and it's going to struggle afterwards. So therefore, for some developing and even developed countries, the financial strain from such investment could worsen existing, economic challenges rather than mitigate them. So that's why they should be very, very careful. Furthermore, it might be considered somewhat irrational or wasteful for developing countries to do, to organize such events when they actually already have other issues like pressing social issues, like poverty and healthcare. And these funds could be spent there rather than on sports. You see, this is how it's argued. That's why this task response here is I would say even 9. Honestly, I'm not gonna even say 8. This is definitely high level. Again, to write like this, you really need to think like that because the writing is the mirror of the way you think. Okay, now beyond financial considerations, hosting international events can have mixed social and environmental impacts. So now we got to think about the other factors, not rather than just financial. So what are those other factors? Okay, well, environmentally, building facilities like that can lead to significant ecological disruption and pollution, sure, including pollution, noise pollution, etc. Right? Explanation, why we have pollution? Well, from increased international travel, local transport to the venues. Okay, got it. I think the point is quite clear at this point, so we can move on to the next, socially. While such events typically foster national pride and unity, which is for sure true, maybe, they can also provoke public disorder, exemplified by recent incidents of violence between sports fans in some European countries. We could dive into this a little bit further, but if you do not have the time to explain, or you might, this kind of writing takes actually time as well, so it would be acceptable to stop there. But I could actually add one more sentence to explain that more briefly, or example sentence could be a separate sentence on its own. These potential adverse effects, must be carefully considered against the benefits when deciding to host such events. You see, you kind of see throughout all these paragraphs, from paragraph to paragraph, that I keep coming back to saying that it really depends. It really depends. There are these benefits, but then there's drawbacks. There's benefit, there's that drawback. So it really, really depends. So in conclusion, the potential economic benefits of hosting international events are significant for sure. Yet, countries must carefully evaluate their financial, social, and environmental factors. Deciding to host such events, requires a balanced consideration of the both advantages and the potential challenges. Right? Do you see how strong this essay is now? as you read, I hope you did not focus on the vocab or the grammar. This is all about task response and cohesion and coherence. It was really smooth, developed. You like reading a strong essay, like a little debate, if you will, you know? And that's why this essay should get a high score and will get a high score.